human beings is to stay silent. There will be somebody who has a question but has some fear to ask a question. But just ask questions. Okay, you have to come out of that zone of whether I will be talking some nonsense, whether I'll be talking something which doesn't make sense. Leave all that. Right? There are 150 paper presentations going to happen. Whatever in your mind, you can ask questions. In conferences, when you ask questions, you are in a good state. You don't need to know the answer. Okay, you can just pose questions. Right? The person who is presenting will somehow give the answer. All right. So you don't have the risk of getting a question back. Okay, so you are in safe zone. Okay, so why I'm trying to say this is trying to comfort you is get into that art of asking questions, because we all have gone through the first conference syndrome, right? Whether the question is right or wrong, things like that. So ask questions and participate in that. Now my second thought which I want to put forward is how do you plan to attend a conference? Okay, you are in a conference. You reach to a conference. You understand the meaning of attending a conference. Now, how do you plan to attend a conference? All these are very important. It's not just, okay, I'm here, I have a paper, or I have good food here and there, then I'll have some good time and I'll go back home. It's not that, right? You need to, how many of you have gone through the list of papers? Anybody gone through the list of papers? Mostly not. That is okay. But go through the list of papers, right? And if some papers excites you, right? You might be doing, all of you are fourth year students? First year? Third year students. Okay, fine. So you are taking some electives, correct? Or you have to take some BTech projects at the end of next year or the start of next year, right? Some sort of a project you will have to do at the end of next year, right? In what area you will do the project, correct? So you attend this conference, you will get some ideas. Always a project, any type of, do I have 5 more minutes? Okay. So any type of project, if it comes from you, it has some value. Okay. Why I'm stressing all this, because these are all good opportunities at your doorstep. You don't have to travel, you don't have to go in flight and stay somewhere and get in jet lag and do a conference. I have done so many conferences like that. I've went to so many conferences like that, but this is in your doorstep. It is, all information is there, right? Just, even if you don't understand a single thing from a paper presentation, it's okay. Even in our stage also, we don't understand many of the studies. That's okay. We cannot understand each and everything from every study. That's okay. But you will get some sort of an idea for doing your BTech research and all. So go through the list of papers, and if something catches you, okay, in this session, I want to attend this paper. I want to hear this study. Okay, this session, I want to do this. And then I want to go to this session. I want to do this. Okay. Why I'm telling all this? Because, see, after this BTech, where are you going? You need a job, right? That's what you are looking at. I don't want any of this conference. I only want a job. You might be thinking all that way. But when you go for a job, what kind of discussions are happening? These kind of people will be talking about what are the newest technologies, work on it, talk about it, present about it. Those kind of challenges you will get, right? If you have got some start from conferences like this, it will help. That's my whole point, okay? And the last thought which I want to put forward to your mind is, see, fair enough, you are doing a BTech now. After that, some of you might be doing an MTech, or you might be going for a job, and at some point of time after job also, you might come back and do a master's. You never know what will happen to your career. At the end of my BTech, I never wanted to do an MTech or anything. I never thought of doing a PhD, right? It all happened after several years, right? Which means that you need to identify some sort of a direction, some sort of an orientation towards what kind of research you want to do, or what kind of area you want to focus, correct? So if you are little bit of research oriented, if you want to do some sort of a laboratory based study or some sort of a new thing you want to create, you want to do a startup, you want to do entrepreneurship, right? All those things comes from these kind of conferences, these kind of ideas, okay? So if you get some ideas from the conference, okay, these are our good things, I want to learn about it, right? Then that has to happen in this conference or the conferences that you attend. Otherwise there is no use, okay? Some sort of momentum has to happen there, okay? So these are the, I think you might encounter many conferences like this in your career or life. So keep these points in your mind, and with this background you start attending conferences, so you will gain something out of it. Okay, so with this few thoughts, I'm stopping here. I'd like to announce that, or I'd like to mention that as this conference has inaugurated. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for those enlightening words. I now invite Dr. Vijay Kumar K, Chairman, IST Kerala Section, former Director of Technical Education, Government of Kerala, and former Principal, Government Engineering College, Thrissur, for delivering the felicitation.
Good morning. President of this function, Mr. Shimit Pia, Chairman, Fiscal Governing Body. Chief Guest of the Day, Dr. Albert Thomas, IIT Bombay. Distinguished guests, honor of the dais, my dear faculty and student friends. At the outset, I am very happy to be associated with the inauguration of the CCON 23 and thank the organizers for inviting me representing IST Kerala section. The chief guest has already highlighted the importance of conferences like this or seminars like this, especially for the student community, where they will be getting an opportunity to interact with practicing engineers, academicians, as well as teachers from other institutes, as well as their colleagues like students from other institutions coming over here and presenting papers. So you will be getting an opportunity to interact with these guests so that your academic knowledge will be improved, or you will be getting confidence to go to other institutes and present papers similar to this. Since the guest, Dr. Albert, has already highlighted the importance, I am not venturing to this. A few words about IST. IST is an organization representing the teachers and students in the technical education field. It offers supports to chapters in colleges for organizing seminars, workshops, and other programs, which with the sole basis is, one is the career development of the faculty members, another is the professional and personality development of the student community. Every year we organize annual conventions, faculty as well as student separately, and recognizes the teachers, giving best teacher awards, recognizes the role of student community, giving best student awards, similarly recognizing the chapters for their activities over a period of time, especially for the current year. So the ISTE is an organization which promotes such activities, so that when the chief guest asks questions, normally the tendency, as he said, is that keep silent. The IST promotes activities especially among the student community, so that they will be able to present ideas, not only the academic but in other fields also. So they will get opportunities in organizing programs at the college level and participating activities in the state level. So this helps them to bring or improve their personality as well as confidence in facing the audience. So you should take active interest in such activities. Not only IST, but professional bodies like Institute of Engineers, Concrete Association, etc., etc. That is IE, Kochi, ICA, similarly institution. So I should congratulate especially the civil engineering department and the managements that they have ensured the participation of professional bodies in organizing such conferences. Normally, the department organizes programs only for the academic community without having any role for the practicing engineers. So this is a different trend by which they ensured participation, as well as there will be talks, keynote address, etc., where you get an opportunity to listen. And as the chief guest has already told you, that you will get exposure to the latest developments in the concerned field. That will help you to identify maybe the electives in the third and fourth year, maybe by choosing the project works in the final year. If it is in the PG level, you will have a initiative or innovative ideas to bring it during your thesis work. So these are very important for especially the 4-year academic life in the campus. So you will get enough opportunities. The only role is you have to exploit all the opportunities so that you will be becoming a full-fledged engineer, especially with a human side. So now you may have an academic input, but the human side is missing. Just now the chairman has already invited your attention to a tragic incident where one of our student colleague attempted or maybe lost life. Maybe due to the stress, or maybe she is not able to share her concerns with the colleagues or their parents, etc. So activities like student chapters or any activities in the college level may not be the student chapter alone, but you have other activities like arts and literature activities. So you have to involve in such activities that will help you to reduce your stress level. Maybe the academic requirement or academic regulations forces you to have studies all of the time, but maybe the projects or maybe the academic timetable pressurizes you to go through all these strenuous hard works. But you have to relax it. So you have to involve in sports, arts, as well as the professional activities. So that will help you to minimize the stress level. Altogether, it may not remove the stress level, but your objective is to study well. That's so you may have some stress, but that is to be minimized so that you can perform well. So such conferences or any other activity in the campus, you have to involve and participate. Already the university is giving some points for taking part in such activities, conferences or sports or arts, etc. So you have to get that points, but you have to actively involve also. Not only for the points, but for all these developments in the personality. So I am thanking the organizers for inviting to be part of this inaugural session and congratulating the civil engineering department along with the management for supporting them to organize international conference annually. This is the 4th version. So they have taken enough pains, and with the support of the faculty, student community, they are able to take forward these conferences. So this is a good opportunity, and you have to exploit the maximum so that you will be benefited during your stay in the campus. So with these few words, wishing all the best for the conference. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I now invite Mr. Sachin Jacob Paul, Vice Chairman, FISAD, to offer his felicitation.
Honorable Chairman, Sri Shimit PR, Dr. Albert Thomas, Principal Dr. Manoj George, and other dignitaries on and off the dais, and dear students and managing committee members. Actually, I used to avoid whatever meetings called by departments, especially related to technical fest or national seminars or conference or whatever it is. Not just because I'm too busy with any other activities. Actually, not to expose my ignorance on engineering, because I am not an engineering graduate. But unfortunately today, madam invited me. Unfortunately, I got a luck. She told me only 2 minutes is allotted, so I'm escaped this time also. So first minute, 1 minute I will read out all the names of dignitaries. Enough dignitaries is there. Second minute I will wish all the best. That's I was planned. Okay, but I should speak at least few things now. So I'm not an engineer. So sir was asking now, how many of you are going to present papers? You are not like raising your hands. At least how many of you are going to plan your own house after your graduation? Any plan? No one is going to construct your own house. You don't. Okay, at least few better than that, the previous question. No? So at least basic knowledge is required. No? So being an engineer, maybe you may be having different concept is there. But for the last 50 or 60 years, I don't think any drastic improvement in civil engineering as a common man's perspective, because construction of concrete house only last 50 years, maybe more than that. Any other technology, maybe prefab is there, but that is not at all widely acceptable or accessible to a common man, or security aspect, or no, a lot of different things are there. So you must ask all these questions. Sir rightly pointed out, a lot of presentations will be there. At least simply go and attend, and you may get at least a few, simple idea on that. At least raise your questions, even if it's a foolish question. You ask the question and understand what all things are happening, any other change is happening. So at least have an idea on what exactly happening around the world, and not just an engineer. In the Bihar recently, one big bridge has been collapsed. So at least you should not sleep on the conference. If you are sleeping on the conference, these kind of things will happen. So you are more responsible. A civil engineer is more responsible than any other engineers. So like as a banker, as a trade union leaders, we have built this institution. It's a bridge actually, not just an institution. We were bridging the gap between the underprivileged or the less privileged who are not able to get the higher education in IITs or any other educations, especially outside Kerala, we are not able to. So we have built a bridge, that's our duty. But as an institute, we are really proud to hear the words of Dr. Albert, because he was really not just from a common man. He is an IIT professor. He was like appreciating FISAT for the facilities and all that. That was really an honor to us. So we should be proud on that. So as students, I request everyone's participation. So you must ask the questions, at least attend, involved in all these paper presentations, not just as a mute spectator, at least involved, because we are going to decide the future of this nation. So at least understand this conference in a right spirit. So I wish all the best to all the team, especially the civil engineering department, for which all success in this national conference. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. I invite Engineer P.A. Salahuddin, FIE, Chairman, Institution of Engineers India, Kochi Local Centre, to offer his felicitation.
Good morning to all. Most respected personalities on the dais, most important personalities sitting before me are the budding engineers who are going to make the history tomorrow. See, we know construction engineers or construction of monuments is the point which or the milestones which can told about the history of the period. We know pyramid in Egypt, it was constructed about, as per the history it says, about 5,000 years back. Because Egypt is known only through that, and history of Egypt is based on that. Similarly, the construction engineers, those who are behind the constructions, definitely is the history makers. I hope the students, budding engineers sitting in front of me, definitely will be history creators, and I wish for that. Let me introduce myself. I am standing before you as a chairman of Institution of Engineers India. It is one of the oldest and premium professional body who started before independence of India about 104 years back. So that organization was the authorized to impart engineering education to India, and the history says first degree issued by IIT Kharagpur was approved by IEI. That was the history. And that IEI had a speciality that it can accommodate all engineers. We have in our council 15 engineering disciplines are representing, proportion to their strength of the membership, and up to very recent years, this institution of engineers are issuing degree equivalent to a degree certificate named AMIE. People may know that. Those days there was no much of engineering institution in the world, in India. That time, that gap of engineering education or the training for the people to become an engineer was the opportunity to use this AMI examination. Still last year, after now it is valid, but there is an issue now, IICT and all, maybe due to the high population of engineering institution. Now that is almost nil, we can say. But that institution gives a lot of training programs, and we are aligned with or affiliated with world engineering organizations, and we are giving international professional engineering certificate, which is authority to practice engineers anywhere in the world. Such an institution I am representing. I am proud that I am part of that. Now I am a chairman of this Ernakulam Kochi local center, where this center alone we have 5,000 engineers with different disciplines. This is say I request all the students, please understand about the IEA's activities and involve yourself for this organization. So my message is that these students, those who are sitting here, I told you that they are going to be the future engineers, and for that there are ways of knowing the informations. See, our Indian philosophy says knowledge is from 4 ways. 25% of your from your teachers, and 25% by themselves, and 25% from the good friends, and 25% from the by nature, by its own. I mean, such a way it is mentioned. These sort of conferences and these sort of gatherings definitely will give you a lot of experience. This is actually nothing but a sharing of experience. There are people representing not only for the academia, but also from the industry, and also those who are representing here, not merely academicians, but they are practicing engineers, and they had a lot of experience in the tune of minimum average 30-35 years of services sometimes, or we can say average 20 years of service. That 20 years of experience is a good thing that you have to understand from them, so that at least something we can gain that will help you to flourish in your area. I don't know how many people are going to be practicing civil engineers after that, because nowadays some of or sizable number of people are going to in other field like software engineers or something. People are going, but definitely some portion of people will be there in their own parent branch, and that people can create history by way of good practicing engineers. With these words, I extend my warm wishes for the these organizations organizing this international seminar, and I wish all the students participants here, let them be notable engineers to create history for the next generation. Thank you. Once again, I thank for the opportunity given. With these words, I conclude my speech. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. May I now invite Dr. Elson John, Vice Chairman, ICI Kochi Center, for delivering the felicitation.
Honorable Chairman of FISAT Group, Schmidt, Chief Guest of the Day, Professor Albert George, the rest of the dignitaries on and off the dais, faculty, colleagues, researchers and students. Today we are inaugurating the 7th edition of CCON, and I am fortunate enough to be a part of this conference from its inception in various capacities. As an author, as a reviewer, as a chair, as a keynote speaker, today from the ICI. So this year also I am a part of this conference as a author, reviewer, as a chair, and today also I am here. So I was closely watching this conference from its beginning, and I would like to say with very happy and proud that this conference is growing each year, and now it become a premium brand and one of the best which is happening in India. In the way they organize it, the quality of the research, the reviews, and it becomes one of the most sought in this area, especially in civil engineering. I congratulate the team FISAT for this, and the researchers when they are presenting a paper. I have seen my students were very tense before going for the conference, and we can see the conference once they present in a conference and they get the feedback directly. And about the students, you can get a lot of benefits out of that. Our Albert sir was mentioning about it. So I have a request to especially the pre-final year students. Now it's a time for you to select your dissertation topic, right? Always, as an academician, I would like to say, always the students will come to us and give me a topic. In this conference, you select an area of your choice, attend at least 2 or 3 sessions, you will get a problem for your dissertation. Try to get the opportunity. And today I am standing here as a representative from ICI. So ICI is the Indian Concrete Institute, is a professional body with 45 chapters across India. And in Kerala we have 3 chapters, Trivandrum, Calicut and Kochi. Kochi chapter we have more than 250 engineers associated with it, and we have 20 student chapters. And I am very happy to say that FISAT is an institution, we are getting more support. The Cochin chapter started in 2011, and from that period onwards, we are getting constant support from FISAT. And the students chapter of FISAT is one of our most energetic and vibrant chapter. Last year, they lost the best chapter award in a very close competition. So they are doing very good. I hope this year also they are coming up with lots of innovative and new ideas. So I wish the conference all the success, and let us hope that this conference will achieve new heights in the coming years. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I now invite Engineer Jolly Verghese, State Chairman, BAI, to offer his felicitation.
Dignitaries on and off the dais, dear students, a very warm good morning to you all. I am so happy and proud to associate with this institution, FISAT, Federal Institute of Science and Technology, run by a team of visionaries, FBOA, Federal Bank Officers Association. And I know that they are very keen in developing sustainable and environmentally friendly campus here in Mukanur. And my company had constructed more than 2 lakh square feet of buildings here, decennial block or architectural block, and some LH ladies hostel and mess building, etc. That was in 2015. ഞാനിവിടെ വരുമ്പോൾ ഞാൻ നോട്ടീസ് ചെയ്ത കാര്യം, near to my side there was a cattle shed. I have never seen such a clean, hygienic cattle shed in my life. ഞാനിത് പറയുന്നത് നിങ്ങൾ ഓർക്കുന്നത് എന്താണ്? Because as a student of this FISAT, you are very lucky. Because at that time, ആ ഒരു പശുക്കൾക്ക് കിട്ടുന്ന ആ ഒരു കെയർ, ബിക്കോസ് നല്ല ക്ലീൻ ആൻഡ് വാഷ് ചെയ്ത ഫ്ലോറും, നല്ലൊരു ഓരോ പശുവിനും ഒരു ഫാൻ, ദെൻ നല്ല സൂത്തിങ് ആയിട്ടുള്ള മ്യൂസിക്. സോ ഐ യൂഷ്വലി കേം ആൻഡ് ഗോ ടു ക്യാൻറ്റീൻ ആൻഡ് ടേക്ക് എ ടീ ഡ്യൂറിങ് എവറി വിസിറ്റ്. അപ്പോൾ അത്രയ്ക്ക് കെയറിങ് ആണ് ഈ മാനേജ്മെൻറ്റും ഇവിടുത്തെ നോൺ ടെക്നിക്കൽ സ്റ്റാഫും ഫാക്കൽറ്റിയും നിങ്ങൾക്ക് തരുന്നത്. മറ്റൊരു കോളേജിലും കിട്ടാത്ത ഒരു ഫെസിലിറ്റിയാണ് ഇത് എന്ന് പറയുന്നതിൽ എനിക്ക് യാതൊരു സംശയവുമില്ല. ബിക്കോസ് ദേ ആർ നോട്ട്, ദ മാനേജ്മെൻറ്റ് ഈസ് നോട്ട് bothered about the profit or monetary benefits of this college. And it is my aim to notice that the management, the principal and the expert faculty here, you know that many engineering colleges are taking fresh graduates or postgraduates for as teachers. But here almost all your faculty members are PhD holders or postgraduates. So it is evident that they are very committed and focused on excellence in technical education and foster globally competent and socially committed engineers and technocrats who can meet the challenges and demand of the industry to develop a world-class infrastructure in our nation. And Builders Association of India is an organization, an 82-year-old organization. We have more than 20,000 members all over India, all construction companies, builders, equipment manufacturers. And we have a branch in Angamali. BA Angamali is a very active center. I think Shaijan sir already arranged some program 2 months back, three-day workshop. And I came at that time also here. I think almost so many students participated for that program. So as a industrial partner, we extend our wholehearted support for the 4th International Conference in Structural Engineering and Construction, that is CCON 2023. And this conference will be an excellent opportunity and platform to the researchers, postgraduates in civil engineering, nationally and internationally, in sharing the knowledge, new innovations and technology for the development of the nation, our industry. And again, I request the students, please attend each and every seminar, and you may get a spark. നിങ്ങൾ 10-50 പേപ്പേഴ്സ് തിയറി പഠിക്കണം, പല പേപ്പറും നിങ്ങൾക്ക് ഇഷ്ടമുണ്ടാവില്ല, പല ക്ലാസ്സുകളും നിങ്ങൾക്ക് ബോറിംഗ് ആയിട്ട് തോന്നും. ബട്ട് ഈ സെമിനാറുകൾ അറ്റൻഡ് ചെയ്യുമ്പോൾ, I was a student in 1983 at one of the leading engineering colleges in Kerala. At that time, I cannot think about a seminar like this. അന്ന് മദ്രാസിലോ ബോംബെയിലോ IIT പോകണമായിരുന്നു ഒരു സെമിനാർ അറ്റൻഡ് ചെയ്യണമെങ്കിൽ. But you are very lucky that such international seminars are happening in FISAD. So you should utilize that. ഈ സെമിനാറിൽ അറ്റൻഡ് ചെയ്യുമ്പോൾ there may be a small spark. There are so many subjects, business information, BIM, modeling and prefabrication, structural engineering, soil mechanics, foundation engineering, ocean engineering, quantity surveying. See, civil engineering is a vast subject and it's a challenging subject also, a challenging field also. So you may get a small spark in your mind. നിങ്ങൾക്ക് ഇഷ്ടമുള്ള ഏതെങ്കിലും ഒരു സബ്ജക്റ്റ് അതിനകത്ത് നിങ്ങൾക്ക് സെലക്ട് ചെയ്യാം. യു ക്യാൻ ടേക്ക് ഇറ്റ് ആസ് എ പാഷൻ ആൻഡ് യു ക്യാൻ സക്സസ് ഇൻ ദാറ്റ് ഫീൽഡ്. ഓക്കെ, ഓൾ ദി ബെസ്റ്റ്. താങ്ക് യു.
Thank you, sir. I now invite Dr. Mini Pia, Vice Principal FISAD, for delivering the felicitation.
Respected dignitaries on and off the dais, colleagues, students and participants of this workshop, a warm good morning to one and all. On this occasion, I would like to congratulate the Department of Civil Engineering for rolling out the 7th edition of this conference, CCON, and that too in its 4th version of the international conference. I know a lot of effort has been put in to make this dream come true. And that too, the theme of this year's conference is something very relevant in today's context, sustainable construction. So you have a number of presentations arranged, and may all of you be benefited by the discussions and the presentations that are going to be held over these 3 years. I wish this conference all success. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. As token of our gratitude, I request our chairman to hand over the memento to the chief guest, Dr. Albert Thomas. I now invite Mr. Sachin Jacob to hand over the memento to Engineer P.A. Salahuddin, FIE Chairman, Institute of Engineers, India, Kochi Local Center. I now invite Mr. Sachin Jacob to hand over the memento to Engineer Jolly Verghese, State Chairman, BAI. I now invite our principal to hand over the memento to Dr. Vijay Kumar K, Chairman, ISTE Kerala Session. I invite our principal to hand over the memento to Dr. Elson John, Vice Chairman, ICA Kochi Chapter. Thank you all. Ms. Renu J. Acheson, Assistant Professor, Department of Civil Engineering, FISAD, is one of the conveners of CCON 23. She has administered the collaboration between the program committee members and the participants of this event. I welcome you, ma'am, to deliver the vote of thanks.
Good morning to everyone here, respected dignitaries on and off the dais. The duty given to me is to propose a vote of thanks to all the dignitaries who are assembled here. I would like to take this opportunity to thank our chairman, Mr. Srimit PR, who is a guiding force leading us with his constructive suggestions. Thank you, sir, for being with us and for presiding over this function. I extend my gratitude to Mr. Sachin Jacob Paul, Vice Chairman FISAT, for being with us today and for addressing the gathering. I also extend my gratitude to Dr. Manoj George, Principal of FISAT, for his valuable inputs and insights in conducting this conference. I thank Dr. Mini PR, Vice Principal FISAT, for motivating us to take up new challenges and for her constant support. I would take this opportunity to thank Dr. Albert Thomas, our chief guest for the day. He has joined us all the way from Bombay. Thank you, sir, for accepting our invitation and for delivering the inaugural address that is to follow. We look forward to an informative session ahead. Thank you, sir. I would like to thank the representatives of the various professional bodies for the support and for gracing this occasion with their presence. I would like to mention their names: Engineer P.A. Salahuddin, IEI Kochi Local Center; Dr. Elson John, Vice Chairman ICI Kochi Center; Engineer Jolly Vargas, State Chairman BAI; and Dr. Vijay Kumar K, Chairman ISTE Kochi Section. Thank you, sirs. Dr. Gigi Anthony, our HOD and Professor of Department of Civil Engineering, has always taken initiatives and stood in the forefront to make it happen. I would like to thank you, ma'am, for the guidance and the support that you give us. The convener of this conference is Ms. Beena BR. For her, I think this will be an end of a series of sleepless nights. I thank you, ma'am, for organizing such an event on such a huge scale. Thank you, ma'am. I would like to thank all the members of the management who are present here today to be with us in such an event. Thank you, sirs. I would like to mention that all our HODs are present here for the event today. Thank you for being part of our work. There has been a panel of around 65 reviewers who have worked behind finalizing the 350 papers and bringing it down to 150 and then bringing it again down to 100, which can be published. In their absence, I would like to thank all of them for associating with a conference like CCON. Thank you. And when we have an event of such a huge scale, nothing happens without the support of the faculty in the department and the student community here. I would like to thank each and everyone for supporting us with every event that we do. These sessions, like everyone has rightly pointed out, are really informative and will benefit each one of you who are seated here, whether you're in your second year or in your third year. So I'm wishing all of you a fruitful 3 days ahead. Thank you.
Thank you all for your esteemed presence. The inaugural session is over. We have 6 keynote lectures by eminent international speakers and 5 parallel sessions of paper presentation, which will be held over the next 3 days. Now, we shall have a short break, and the first keynote session by Dr. Albert Thomas will begin at 11 a.m. today. I hope everybody will be present on time. So please stick on to the time. Thank you all, and hope you all will have an informative session in the coming days. So please raise for the national anthem.
जनगण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे
I request all the dignitaries and the staff members to please come on to the dais for a photo session. I request all the students please return back by 11:15 a.m. The session will be starting at 11:15 a.m. sharp. Please ask your friends to come to the seminar hall. The session is about to start. A very warm good morning to one and all. It's my pleasure to welcome you all to the first keynote lecture of CCON 23. It's a great honor to welcome the guest of the day, Dr. Albert Thomas, who will be delivering the first keynote titled Academia and Industrial Collaboration Towards Sustainable Construction. I also welcome the audience who have graced the event with their presence. With great pleasure, I would like to give a brief introduction on our speaker, Dr. Albert Thomas. He's an assistant professor at the Construction Technology and Management Group of Civil Engineering at IIT Bombay. He obtained his PhD from the University of Michigan, Ann Arbor, and MTech in Construction Technology and Management from IIT Madras. Through his PhD dissertation, he developed a lightweight and adaptive building life cycle energy simulation framework for analyzing various dynamic energy influencing factors and its energy impacts. During his years as a graduate research assistant, he was involved in several projects aimed at incorporating sustainability and life cycle based thinking in various infrastructure and built facilities. He has authored more than 35 scientific articles. On a professional experience level, Dr. Thomas possesses a unique mix of teaching, research, and industry experience in various domains such as business strategic planning, management information systems, construction project scheduling and earned value analysis, simulation analytics, and building energy modeling, life cycle analysis, and project management consulting. Some of the highlights of his professional career in India and the United States include project planning and monitoring experience for the construction of a mega project such as Chennai Underground Metro, involving in the development of life cycle analysis software tool for a water utility industry in the United States, and designing and implementing lean construction-based toolkits for electric utility projects across the 4 states in the United States. Dr. Thomas is a recipient of Build India Scholarship for the MTech program at IIT Madras, Top Performance Award from L&T, Editor's Special Mention from ASCE Journal of Computing in Civil Engineering, and recently the Young Faculty Award from IIT Bombay. Let us all welcome Dr. Albert Thomas for the keynote address. Over to you, sir.
Thank you. How many of you attended my inaugural address? How many of you are new? I think it's the same batch. Okay, so when I was giving that address and I was just observing, there was that bunch of students there. We were not getting sight. They were kind of, can you come forward? Let's sit here. Come. That's the first thing we do. Come. Okay, great. So I'm going to talk about something called sustainable construction, and there is some other keywords as well: academia, industry, collaborations, and so on. Even before going through all this, I just want to get your feeling about civil engineering. How many of you like civil engineering? Straight on your face question. How many of you want to have a career in civil engineering? These guys doesn't like civil engineering, but they want to have a career in civil engineering. Okay? But all jokes apart, right? You are third year in civil engineering, right? Second year, right? So you are still trying to understand what is structural engineering. Maybe structural engineering 1 you have taken, or engineering mechanics you have studied. Then geotechnical engineering you have studied? No. You have studied? Okay. Geotechnical engineering is good. What is void ratio? You said it is good. Who can say what is void ratio? Okay, good. Anyway, my talk is not about geotechnical engineering or void ratio. So I'm going back to my engineering days. I didn't have any uniform at that point of time. Do you like uniform? Yes? Yes? Okay, good. So, in this entire presentation, I'll be talking something which you have not studied so far. Okay, which is fair enough. Something will go above your head. You will not understand anything. But let's try to understand, because some conference is happening here. It's with a theme, right? What's the theme of this conference? Not the name of the conference. What's the theme of the conference? Sustainability, that keyword is coming from everywhere. There is one more keyword. Infrastructure is not the keyword I'm looking at. Quality, right? Quality and sustainability. Those are the two keywords which is coined as a theme for this conference, right? In that, even though I teach quality at IIT, I am going to talk about something called sustainability. Okay, okay. A little bit of introduction I'll give. I did my BTech from CET, Trivandrum Government Engineering College. Then I took construction technology and management without interest. Let me be honest with you. Okay, I wanted to do MTech in structural engineering. As a typical, how many of you like structural engineering? Engineering mechanics? I think engineering mechanics exam was very tight, right? I can sense that. But when you start studying structural engineering, you will start loving that. Okay? It's a good field. I wanted to do something in that. It did not happen. I landed up into construction technology and management. I was not comfortable with management, but immediately after that, I didn't have any plans to do a master's education or a PhD in structural or construction management and things like that. I ended up into industry. Do you understand what I mean by industry? It's called companies, working in companies. Okay, so there are two things. One is academia, which is basically your teachers, the research, right, from colleges. Okay, whatever happening that is named as academia. Industry means all companies. They construct houses, they construct big dams, ports, metros and things like that. So those are called as industry. So I landed up into industry. I worked with Larsen & Toubro for some time. Then when I started working in site, okay, so I was associated with the project Chennai Underground Metro. Anybody who's traveled in metro? Kochi Metro? Okay, is that cool? Good? Is that useful? So you have a stop in Lulu Mall. That's the most useful metro station, right? Okay. Right. So what kind of metro it is? What are the two types of metro? One is elevated. It goes through piers. What is there under that? Piles, right? Pile cap, pier cap. Over that, girders. That's structure, right? That's a basic thing. Now you have underground structure. I worked in Chennai Underground Metro for a brief period of 2 years. Then I kind of started feeling that this is not where I have to be, right? Then I started doing my PhD. Then in my PhD, I started working towards something called sustainable construction, sustainability, right? Everybody have heard about that term, right? That's being bombarded to your heads right now, right? Sustainability, that's a time when I started hearing that term. Then I started working with IIT Bombay, and I'm doing research on that. So I will talk a little bit more about sustainability to give you a context of what it all is. Then I'll talk about some of the research work that I'm doing, okay, at IIT, and I'll try to bring in some of the aspects of industry-academic collaborations as well. This is what the content's all about. So climate change is something which, right, you know what it is. When I say climate change, right, Now, earlier and all, when we used to go to school, on June 1st morning there used to be rain. My entire school days was like that. May 31st it will be ultimate summer, and June 1st rain. Like that used to be. You might not be knowing about that period because you might not have been born at that point of time, right? Then now if you look at the monsoon has not come, right? Then can you say some other aspects of climate change? If you have been reading a bit about it? Any news, anything happening in the world? I told in my speech, right, you have to respond. Have some point. Sorry, I put you guys here. You are comfortable there, I put you guys here. Any thoughts? Okay, some wildfires are happening. The ice is melting, right, from Arctic, Antarctic regions, right? Water level is rising, right? These kind of things you might have read somewhere, correct? Which means that something is happening in the world, right, from the basic or normal levels, right? So which results in global warming and so and so. That is why people are talking about sustainability. Okay, sustainability. It's not just about driving electric cars. Okay, what do we achieve if we drive electric cars? That gives some interest. Okay, tell me, what happens? Sit at that. Okay, some form of an emission reduction. Very good. Give him a clap. Good. Okay, some form of an emission reduction is happening, right? Which means that, but at the same time, that electrical energy is produced at some thermo plant, right? That electricity is produced somewhere. Okay, that's a different sort of discussion. But to us, we are not breathing that kind of an air, right? Which is polluted air. Let's say if all vehicles are electric vehicles, then there will not be much polluted air in the roads, right? That's a way of sustainability. There is another, that's a dimension called environmental sustainability, right? Environment, you are protecting the environment, right? Now, if you can see there is no plastic bottles there. That is something which I have observed. No plastic bottles, then it's glass, right? So which means that you could have bought 5 or 10 plastic bottles and kept there, which means that you are reducing that consumption. If you reduce the consumption, the production will also reduce, right? If everybody reduces, that's why people are saying that reduce the plastic consumption, correct? When you go and buy something from the shop, if you reduce that single-use plastic polythene bags, correct? What is it? If you go with your own cloth bag or something, that is, in effect, you are helping the sustainable development, right? Then there are several examples like that, right? Then waste minimization, and there are so many things like that. All those are environmental sustainability, right? Now, there is another dimension called social sustainability. Okay, so it might be politically a little bit of controversial statement, but there have been some discussions about a new rail project in Kerala, right? I don't want to name the project. There have been so many discussions about this. Is this going to be sustainable, right? Do we need this, correct? Is this going to be economically sustainable? There have been discussions about that, okay? Whether do we need this, or do we need trains that ply in a faster way in the existing routes, right? They are talking about economic sustainability, right? Now, social sustainability is all about accessibility, right? Now, if you have to go to, let's say, Lulu Mall from here, from this point, how do you go if you don't have a vehicle? Bus. You have to walk to some place, some bus stop. Is there a bus stop just in front of his hut? Okay. But for a person who is living a little bit inside, They have to walk a bit more than bus, public transport, right? Does it take all the way to Lulu Mall? No, you have to get into the next bus, right? Now, the accessibility, if you compare the same system, okay, if I'm living in the US, okay, I want to go to a mall. In US, the public transport is much, much bad, but still you have that infrastructure is there. You have the walkways. Every road has walkways, pathways are there, which means it is much more accessible, I would say. Okay, so that is one aspect. Other aspect is health aspect. Okay, so here in Kerala, you don't have much slums, right? If you go to places like Mumbai, Delhi, there are so many slums, right? There are so many projects happening which are called slum rehabilitation projects. So people who are living in slums, very low quality living, they have been shifted to vertical towers because you don't have space there in a place like Mumbai. They have been shifted to vertical towers, and these vertical towers are adjacent to each other. It's not like the typical flat that you see here, which has good buildings, play area, parking, right? That kind of a flat complex. It's not like that, which means that there is this health aspect. Okay, so people, they're not getting enough lights. Okay, if you have your class, entire class in this building for morning to evening, all the year, all 4 years, how would that be? I mean, you are not seeing the light, it's all artificial. Right? You can put down the blind and everything, but you're not getting the fresh air, natural air. Right? So you can think about all these aspects. So all these health aspects, that is a part of social. Okay? So why I'm stressing too much is you need to understand the meaning of sustainability. Right? So sustainability has 3 pillars. Right? Tell me, what are the 3 pillars? I'm giving you a chance. There's an easy cheating way you can do. You can look at the slide. Right. Very good. Okay. So there are 3 aspects. Right? 3 aspects which, so what we are looking at is when we say sustainable development, when a new project is coming, all these aspects have to be taken care. Right? It should reduce the emissions to the environment, which means if you, instead of concrete, instead of cement, if you can use some alternate cementitious materials, right, then that will help. Okay, instead of there are so many examples we can come to. I'll come to that. Then if you use natural lighting, you can reduce the AC consumption, which means you are reducing the energy consumption. Right? So when you make the buildings energy efficient, green buildings, you might have heard about that. Right? All these are good terms which you can do for your projects. Okay. Okay, so that is what you're talking about, sustainability. Now when you look at the building industry, so if I tell a statement, most of our time we spend indoors. Does that make sense? We sleep in a house, not outside, right? Most of us, probably, we don't know. So most of us live in a house, right? We travel, then you all study here, you spend here, right, in classrooms. Then go back, probably go to a gym or go to some other place or go to a mall, go to some other building. But you are around 90% of your time you are inside a building, right? You are using energy, correct? If you are if staying in a building, if this AC is not on, all ACs are on now. That's why all of us are comfortable, right? Let me say, okay, all these 3 ACs shut down, then those people will not be comfortable, right? Which means you are spending energy. You are using energy for that, correct? So when you account for all this, the building industry as a whole, okay, there is this textile industry, other industry, this industry, that industry. When you look at that way, building industry is accountable for around 30 to 40% of energy consumption, right? Now the point is this: if you are able to reduce some of its energy consumption, Okay, that's what architects do. Correct? They they design buildings in such a way that the natural light, sunlight gets into the building. You might have seen such buildings, right? That you don't need a light during the day, which means that you are reducing a bit of energy. Correct? Even civil engineers, you can also do it, right? So when somebody asked a question, how many of you will design your own building? Only some people from here raise the hands, right? But in effect, you have to think that way. Okay. Anyway, let me talk about that later. But building industry is responsible for a lot of energy emissions. Now, there have been a lot of talks about becoming net zero, right? Have you heard anything like that? Okay. So I'll tell about that. There is a lot of focus towards reducing global warming or reducing the climate change effects, and globally every country have agreed to some targets, which means that India has agreed that by 2070 we will become net zero. Net zero means we don't need any electricity to be produced. If for, let's say in FISAD, if FISAD campus needs to become net zero, then all electricity which are needed will be produced through some sources. What could be some source? Solar, right? Solar plants. There is a nearby structure which runs solely on solar plant. Airport, right? The airport is a net zero. I think it's a net positive. It gives energy to the grid, KCB. Correct? It produces, it has a big solar farm, produces, and it gives energy. Now we are talking about EV vehicles, electric vehicles. Electric vehicles, they're also adding to this net zero concept, which means you use naturally renewable energy sources and reduce the non-renewable energy sources. That's what. Okay, so India is committed to becoming net zero in all industries. It's not just building. By 2070, in another 50 years, right? Canada is committed for 2050, right? There are so much of motion is happening nowadays across the world. It's good to know, good to read about this. If you want to present about it, maybe as a case study or as a project in your subject, you can think along that direction. Okay, so this is the focus. Now, so this is the background of the world that we are living in right now. It's no more the same world probably 20 years before, right? Because if you go to places like Dubai, Singapore, those are concrete jungles, right? It's just concrete. Everything is concrete. If you come to Mumbai also, Mumbai has little bit more greenery as well, which means we are creating a lot of structures. Are these sustainable, right? We are keeping on creating structures like this, right? How long we will get cement? We don't know. How long we will get the Kadapa stone, right, for landscaping? Those are natural stones, right? We don't know, which means that we need to have strategies to recirculate the existing buildings materials as well, right? Recycle. That is why people would be recycling plastics, the old sub things, and making tile paver blocks using plastics, making road using plastics, right? You might have heard about all this. Why these kind of efforts are coming? It's because of the earlier drive that I talked about, right? The global warming, the climate change, the need for sustainable development, need for sustainability. That's why all these measures people are doing. Now, if you look at this conference, if you have time, if you're attending papers, I understand that you have classes also. If you're seeing papers, try to understand whether any papers are there, any measures are there in terms of energy reduction, in terms of recycling materials, in terms of improving the sustainability of building industry, and so on. Okay, look at that way and try to understand. Okay, so now let me talk about what is sustainable construction, right? Now I talked about need of sustainability. Now, if you look at the India scenario, India, if you go to any metro city, right? Let me ask you. In the last independence speech, our Prime Minister has given a commitment, some form of a commitment. In 50 years, we will make our country a dash. What? A developed country in 50 years, by 2047 or something. Correct? Now, when you look at a developed country means what? You need better accessibility, better transport system, housing for all, which means that a huge construction movement or mass momentum is going to happen, which is good for us. Part of your career, it is good, which means that you'll easily get jobs, right? That is one thing. But at the same time, when you look at a lot of construction, a lot of concrete is going to be into there. A lot of cement needs are going to be into there. A lot of reinforcement needs are going to be into there, right? And the old buildings have to be demolished. There are a lot of waste that are going to come, correct? So there is if you go to any metro city, there is some form of a remodeling is happening. If you have ever come to, have you anyone of you been to Mumbai or Delhi or, okay, if you have been to there, a lot of construction is happening there. None of the cities you can term it as a developed city. Probably Delhi, a few areas you can. But other cities are still developing. Metros are getting extended and added like that. Which means that it's very important to have all this development in a sustainable way. Now I'll go a little faster. I talked about all this already. Now, is decarbonizing the first priority of infrastructure development? Now, infrastructure development, I'm not saying that, no, if you come up with a lot of infrastructure, it's going to pollute the air. I don't want an infrastructure. We cannot take that stand, right? But try to reduce your carbon emissions. Reduce your carbon emissions in whatever infrastructure development it is. Use materials that emit less carbon. Now, when I say emit less carbon, see, for producing cement, you might have studied how you produce cement, or you will study, right? There's a production plant, right? There's a production process. It's not something like you go to somewhere and dig cement and put it in a packet and give it to people. It's not like that. You get the basic raw material, you heat it up, there's a process for it, right? That process emits fumes. That process emits carbon, right? So, which means that for getting a ton of cement or a small bag of cement, a specific amount of carbon emissions are there. If you can substitute that cement with something else, probably lime, right? There is research happening that way, okay? Now, instead of reinforcement, put bamboo. I'm not saying you have to put bamboo for high-rise structures. There are structures, there are people who are doing research in that direction. All this is aiding towards that. Now that is decarbonizing. How can sustainability be integrated? To how much degree? Circular economy. There is this term which I know that some of these things will go over your head, but circular economy is all about recycling, reuse, right? Your circular economy, right? You are after the use of one cycle, you are again doing it, using it for the next cycle of when you are constructing a new building itself. That's called the circular economy idea. Then our net zero targets really achievable by 2070. All right, so 2070, we have committed that we'll become net zero. Every building in the country will generate energy. That's what we are talking about. Okay, or a group of building or a community of building will have a solar plant and it doesn't need energy from electricity or KSEB. Okay, right? Is it becoming heavy? Is it boring or interesting? This said interesting, no response from this side. Interesting. Okay, I'm putting too much pressure on you to say interesting. Okay, so there is this thing called, this is the thing which I want to focus in this presentation. There is a thing called academy-industry collaboration. Okay, so when you say, so right now, you are studying in this college. After this education, what will you do? Some of you will go for masters, most of you will go for a job somewhere. Right? That's the assumption. Now, as an academic institution, what is this institution doing? They're supporting workforce for industry. Academy is helping industry. If such engineering colleges were not there, right? Let's say, I think around 90s, in 90s, or probably during your time when you did BTech in 80s, there might be 4 or 5 engineering colleges at that point of time. Only 5 engineering colleges, right? Now during 90s, it probably have come to 10, 15. During my time, it was around 20, 25 or something like that. Now there are a lot of engineering colleges, right? Which means a lot of engineers, civil engineers are coming up, a lot of companies have come up, right? It's all the demand driven, right? You need a lot of infrastructure development. There is a lot of projects coming up, a lot of companies will come up. Companies need people. People are given by engineering colleges through UG and PG courses, and that is one way of academia supporting industry, right? You have to understand all this, right? It's not just about studying structural, geotechnical, water resources, and did a civil engineering and getting out, and then I will start understanding about the world. It's not that, right? You need to get a perspective of it. Then industry is supporting by means of internships. Does anybody want to do an internship or thought about an internship? Okay, yes. Have you started any steps towards internship? Yes? How many of you have a LinkedIn profile? Okay, very good. Okay, so others, please start. Because when someone is looking for an internship, what are they looking? They will not search and find you in Insta. Okay? They will not ask for your Insta ID and what reels you do. It's not that. Okay? They will look at your LinkedIn profile and what's your career all about? Let's say if you have, now you have CGPA system or percentage here. Let's say you have 9 out of 10 CGPA. That doesn't mean that you get an internship, okay? You need to have, okay, participating in different aspects, whatever is happening, whatever you can do. That extracurricular, it's not just about singing, dancing I'm talking about. It's about several other things, maybe clubs, memberships, and other programs that is happening. All those matters from now onwards. It's not just about the CGP. It's not just about being the best guy or girl in the class in terms of marks. It's not just that. Okay, so industry supports through internships. Then sponsored research funded by industry. Okay, so this you might not be aware of it. So right now we are doing a research on understanding which is the best glass material, which is the best glass for different residential building, or what's the performance of glass performance. It is funded by a industry body. Okay, so it's not funded by government. It's not funded by IIT. It's not funded by me. It's funded by an industry, because industry wants to know. Industry has a problem. They want to have a technical solution from us. So many projects happen, right? Then there are so many ways, sponsored research and different types of things. Anyway, let me go ahead. Then helping industry for specific problems. That is where academia comes into picture. Academia helps because industry implements things, or companies implement. A company builds buildings. When some specific problems, they are encountered by some specific problems, they need the help of academicians because they need the theoretical knowledge, right? Engineering mechanics, what is one good theorem? Tell me some good theorem. Don't look at others. You studied engineering mechanics or not? Young's modulus, is there in engineering mechanics? She is under tremendous pressure. Help her. Any theorem? Okay, so the point here is that for solving a problem, you need technical support, right? So that way academia helps. Okay. Then training industry professionals. Okay. So industry people, when you start working in a company, you might be needing a training in let's say in AutoCAD or a building information model or Revit, academicians can pitch in. Conducting joint workshops, some form of workshops you do. Nurturing startups. You know what is startups? Okay, that is a common term, fairly common term here, which means you have an idea, that idea becomes a product, correct? When there are takers, buyers for that product, then it becomes a startup. Then it becomes a commercial value. I'll start up something, a company, I'll produce that on in heavy numbers, then people will line up and buy it. I'll make profit. That's a company, right? So startups, that is basically by collaboration between industry and academia. And collaboration in sponsored projects. In one of the projects that we are starting, I have a collaborator from a university in Canada, then 4 industry partners. They're helping us in that project. Okay, and it is funded by government. Okay, so you can understand it's no more about just the civil engineering education that is happening, that is imparted to you all. There are so many other things that are happening. People are investigating on different aspects, and it is supported, it is funded by government, which means money will be given by government to do that, right? To get the equipment, right? Then to do case studies for buildings and things like that. Okay, so industry is involved that way. Then solutions for sustainability in all sectors. So why I'm trying to put all these things into your mind, I know this is too heavy, this is something entirely different from what you are doing till yesterday, and now you are going to do something else. But you need to start thinking about all dimensions. At least this kind of, if you start reading around this sustainability, around what is academy industry, how industry is, or construction industry is moving forward, you need to start reading about all this. It will help you in your interviews. Okay? Interviews doesn't just ask you, just assess you, your technical capabilities. Okay? It is not just that. Nowadays it's not just that. They assess a person's personal behavior, okay? Whether this person can be trained, whether this person has some all-round knowledge around civil engineering. They might ask you, okay, what is the net zero policy of India? If you don't even know what is net zero, then it's a big red flag in an interview. That's why I'm stressing upon to you. It's not something which is an add-on to you at this point of time. Okay? Whatever is there, you start reading out. Okay? If such a question is asked, if you can give a starting, if you can get a starting, okay, net zero is about producing the energy within the community, and India is expected to become net zero somewhere around after 2050. That is also okay. You don't have to be clear in number, but you cannot be extremely silent when such a question is asked. Like for all this, that needs a momentum. Okay. So there are several approaches. How much more time I have? For 15 more minutes. Okay. I have 50 slides, 40 more slides. Okay. Okay. So there are several approaches of big. So now how you understood about sustainability? Yes, the need for sustainability, sustainable construction. You got a feel, all right? Okay. Now, what are the ways of doing it? One is construction of green and net zero energy buildings. Okay, green buildings. Have you heard about it? Okay, what is a green building? You are nodding very confidently. He is saying plants around the building. Okay? Plants, gardens, landscaping. Any other aspects? You are my favorite person. Resource recycling, very good point, right? Then, any other points? Any other thoughts? Eco-friendly materials, okay, very good. Can I get some response? You. Yes. I can point on anyone, okay? Okay. Any other points? Okay. It's a construction of energy efficient buildings, energy and resource efficient buildings. Okay. So, see, you might have seen, are you able to see some incandescent lamps now? That yellow light lamps? That bulbs are not there nowadays. Why that is completely eliminated? Because it's not energy efficient. Now it is all LED lamps, right? That's energy efficient measure. Now if you have observed in Lulu Mall wash area, right? When you go to the restroom, do you have to open the tap? No, when you put your hand, it is coming out, the water is coming out, right? So what is that measure? It's an automated on and off, correct? So if it is a manual thing, there is a chance that water loss can be there. It's to minimize the water loss. Now if you go to a mall in Mumbai, the water coming is very minimal, right? It's not like a plenty of water because there is a water scarcity. Okay, so such kind of things, there are so many things like light sensors and things like that which are installed in the building which will reduce energy consumption. Okay, so that is green buildings and net zero energy buildings. So construction of more such buildings, right? Construction of more such airports like Kochi Airport, which will reduce the energy consumption. Okay, so that is one measure. Then use of eco-friendly materials for construction, wide use of renewable energy techniques, practicing circular economy approaches. So what was circular economy? You. Any idea? Any of you? You can discuss and tell. Yeah, reusing and recycling and things like that. So such approaches. Okay. Then what I work on for research is modeling and simulation based approach in sustainability. So I don't work on material testing. Okay. I don't work on constructing anything, but I model these buildings and kind of understand, okay, if I use this material or if I use this technology, how much energy I can save. Okay, that's what I work on. Now some of the slides I'll go very fast. I'll not explain, but I'll give you an idea of what it is so that you'll get an idea of how things work. Okay, do you need a break? I won't give you a break, but I'm just asking. Is it okay? You're understanding? The back? Want to come to the front? Some more seats are there. No? You're comfortable? Okay. So, one of the studies that one of my PhD students who just graduated, she finished a PhD by answering this question. She got a PhD by answering this question. How to measure, can you get some water? How to measure sustainability, right? So there is this notion called what gets measured gets done. Have you heard about that? Right? So in order to make some changes, implement some changes, you need to quantify it, right? Whatever it is, right? But when you talk about sustainability, emissions, energy, you can quantify, but what about social aspects, the health aspect? How do you quantify means how do you put it as a number? Okay? So when you say how are you thermally comfortable? Are you comfortable? Are you feeling? Are you sweating? No. Very good. So all of you are thermally comfortable, right? How much are you thermally comfortable? It's very difficult to say, right? On a scale of 1 to 5, 1 being the worst and 5 being the largest, I'm acting like a, right? When you call some tele people, they will say like that, right? 1 being the worst and 5 being the most, how much you are comfortable? 4. Now I have just quantified it a little bit, right? So it's kind of a quantification, correct? Now if let's say if the same question is posed to the entire student community here in different buildings, In this building right now you are saying 4. Maybe in some building, maybe if rain is happening, they might not be that much comfortable because they might be feeling cool, much more cooler than this, because here is I don't know whether it's raining outside. Probably it's raining outside, which means they might say that I'm feeling cool, I'm not comfortable, I'm having only 2, which means that different buildings right now you will have different thermal comfort. Correct? If you aggregate everything, you can say that you can get a final one number, 3.35 is the thermal comfort index of WISAT campus right now. I'm saying all this to get you an idea, right? This is a quantification of some difficult aspect of thermal comfort or sustainability. Now, if I drove from here to Lulu Mall, how much CO2 I will emit from my car? You can easily quantify it. There is mechanics to do it. There is a pure mechanical engineering. This is point A, point B. How much is the what is the rate? How much CO2 I am emitting to there? You can easily quantify it. So there are some things which you can easily quantify. There are some things which you cannot quantify easily. You need to have some rating system. You need to have some form of a scale kind of a thing to quantify it, right? Now, one is there are many things called the green building system. Is where I talked about green building. There are several assessment systems that tell that how much green this building is, whether it is less green or more green, like that. I'm skipping this slide. Let me come to, so that quantification of sustainability, what that student did is, what that student did is that he developed a model. That model will tell you, that model will give a scale like this, and it did a case study for different areas, right? You can see Jharkhand, Orissa, Uttar Pradesh, Gujarat, Tamil Nadu, for different set of buildings she has taken, and you can see red means it is low sustainability. Yellow means medium sustainability, green means high sustainability. If you can see that in the buildings in Jharkhand, for the particular case study building, they are not saying that every building in Jharkhand is like this, it's not like that. It is low in sustainability. She developed a computer model, and that computer model is telling this. Then Orissa, it is medium, like that. Now the whole point is, she has not gone to these places, but it is visualized and simulated in computer using a model, right? This is research. So there was that quantification, or that quantification was lacking. So for doing research, there needs to be something which is not there. It was not being, we are not able to quantify sustainability efficiently, so we developed a model, right? That's a contribution to the field, right? That's how this, when you look at electricity, that was an invention, right? That is also a research contribution. It's not like one fine day morning electricity was invented. It is not like that. People have been trying for several years, several decades probably, and over the years, one fine person added some fine thing to it, and that became an invention, right? So like that, this is kind of a contribution. So this is one research. Then another thing is, this is one good area for you to understand, to do a project in your BTechs and all, something called life cycle analysis. Now, how old is this building? 21. So it was started in 2002, so 21 years. Now how many more years this building will stand? Another 200 years will this building stand? Why? Pyramid is standing for 5,000 years. Whether my question makes sense? So there is a notion that the concrete buildings, okay, now you tell me how many more years, probably this building will be functional, can be functional. Another 50 years? Probably. Another 30 years it will definitely function. So probably around 50 to 70 years is that lifetime for a concrete building with good repairs and everything, right? So now over this life cycle of this building, if I want to understand for this entire building complex, how much emissions, how much this building is spoiling the environment, right from the inception stage, right from the construction stage. You are constructing, you are procuring materials, you are assembling it, you are making a building is being used, some maintenance is happening, right? You are changing something, again that has to be produced elsewhere, right? Some painting is happening, right? So that paint is produced somewhere, which means at every stage, and finally the building is demolished, which means there is a life cycle. Something like we all were born as babies, then we started crawling, started walking, started going to school, then to college, then you will get job, life will start, then finally something will happen, right? So there is a life cycle to everyone. Like that, similar to that, there is a life cycle to the building also. So doing a life cycle analysis to understand how much emissions at each stage it is doing, that is called life cycle analysis. So, so this particular study did whether the green building is good, right? Whether actually we are saying that the green building is good, but to give energy efficient tap, energy efficient lighting, you need extra money, right? It's not that cheap, which means whether it is worth spending that much to make a green building over the life cycle. Okay, that's what this study has, one study we have investigated. Then another study has developed some form of again measuring sustainability, some form of an index for recycling. So we are saying that, okay, you recycle most, everything, but how much is that, what is that index, which material is better and so on. And this is one, are you able to understand the basic things of this? That's all is needed, okay? You don't have to understand much. If you are further interested, you can look at my papers. All these are published. Now, this is one study which I have done. I was part of from US. So we were associated with one industry which is ductile iron manufacturing industry, pipe manufacturing industry. You have water pipes, right? What kind of pipes you know? PVC, ductile iron, right? Now for long transmission, what kind of pipes do you use typically? Iron pipe, the cast iron pipe or ductile iron pipe, like that. So this project was to do a life cycle analysis of ductile iron pipe versus PVC pipes to understand which one is better. If I have a project, I'm undecided, I am confused which pipe I should select, whether it is ductile iron, whether it should be PVC. Okay, such kind of, it did a life cycle analysis. At the end you got a value saying that, we can see that this is a tool. You can select the state. Okay, you can select the state here, the dimensions and things like that, and when you press calculate, it will give what is the emissions and everything. It's a tool. Okay, you can work it on like that. Then another thing is, this will be again little complicated, but there is thing called, I talked about indoor thermal comfort, right? I asked some questions about thermal comfort and all, right? There are several studies that map this, that analyze, okay? So now you have, okay, let me come to that. The lack of time, okay, so this is basically a classroom. This is a model of a classroom. There are people sitting in here, and what we did is, we did a spatial mapping of thermal comfort. Okay, if you can see it here, there is this red area, okay, in this classroom where people are not that comfortable, right? Because now ACs are only in that side. I'm not, the comfort that these people getting, these people are little lucky, luckier than these people. Okay, is it AC coming from there? Is there? No, which means they are little bit more cooler. This place is little bit more cooler. If you do that, the same analysis here, here a little bit of orange would be there, right? It will be much more greener here, right? Which is a bit more comfortable, correct? So such an analysis we have done for different spaces. That's what it is. I'm not getting into details of it. So, and we have also modeled the breathing, because if there were no one in this, if I'm talking about to only the faculty and some of the people here, if students were not there, if the crowd is not there, this much of, we'll be still feeling a little bit cooler. But now this many people are there, we are emitting carbon dioxide, right? Which means that is also heating up this room, heating up this space, correct? So, the dynamics differs. So that also we have modeled there. I will just skip this. I'll get back to this. So the last set of things which I want to talk about is, which we do in our lab, is urban building energy modeling. Okay, it's getting a little difficult. There is some else I heard. Little boring. Okay, you are able to manage. I have only few more slides. Okay, so it's no more just about single building. You model a group of buildings, right? A community, something like this. Okay, as a community, how much energy you are spending? You remember this first slide that I showed with our Prime Minister Narendra Modi was there. So the net zero energy targets are for 2070. Right? There are so many buildings are there. If you just focus only on one building, we are not going to achieve the target. We need to focus on a group of buildings. Let's say on this Mukkannur area. This is Mukkannur, right? Right. Or this Ernakulam district or Angamali area, right? Or a flat community, like that. How much energy is there? Like that. Such an analysis we have done. We have done some analysis. And the solar rooftop potential. Okay, so I think there is now some plan from KSEB that talks about that promotes solar installation in rooftops. Anybody knows about that? Anybody has a solar panel in your house? You have. You yourself put, I mean, from your father have put, or from the KSEB has come and put? Eh? Okay, you have put. Okay, what is it giving? It is giving water heating. It is doing water heating and light. Okay, it's actually working. It's reducing the energy consumption. Okay, let's say if this practice is followed everywhere, which means that you can save money also, right? So we have done that analysis here. I'm not doing much into this. I have a couple more slides. So this, I think I talked about these two projects as well. This is my last slide. Okay, so I think this is, you all have been waiting for this. Okay, so now let us talk about the way forward, right? I've tried to put some ideas. Can I get some attention? Okay, so I'm stopping it, right? So I put some ideas to your mind. Okay, can some of you summarize some of the thoughts? Can you speak? What all things we have gone into your head? Sustainable, okay. Then one more point, then I'll leave you. Okay. Okay, what all comes under civil department? Okay, good. Can I get some feedback from you? Sit and talk. What else I talked? Need for sustainability. I mean, I don't want to hear the same answer from everyone. Any other? There are some comfortable people sitting here. Any other things? Yes. Okay, the ways that can be adopted to achieve sustainability. Anybody remembering about any measures? Can I hear you? Yeah. Energy efficient bulbs and materials like that. Okay. Natural lighting. Very good. Very good. Uh, about you? Okay, next to you. Okay. Yeah. Using electric vehicles. Okay. Green buildings. Last person. Any other points? All good points are already taken. Okay. Any other points anybody wants to add? Yes. Excellent information. Very good. How many of you are knowing about this? You are knowing about this? Then why did you not inform me? Okay, all right. Any other points you want to add from any side? Net zero concept, which is very important. Net zero by 2070, that's a big target. All of you are part of it. It's not just the government, it's not just the industry. Everybody, you are a budding civil engineer. You are going to work in a company, right? You have to advocate these kind of things there. Any other points? Circular economy, very good. This area, I did not get any response. Green buildings we already talked about. Any other points from anyone? Life cycle analysis, we talked about that, right? So if you look at all this, there is one way which is construction of green buildings. This is a green building, I understand, right? This other things is modeling of that. That's also important, right? That is kind of the point that which I'm trying to convey to you. You can also start with the life cycle analysis and all, you can easily study and do it. There are open source tools, freely downloadable and installable tool which will help you to do that. Okay. So Indian infrastructure and the building sector need to set specific sub-targets and strategies to achieve the 2070 net zero goals. Simulation and modeling techniques can help a lot. Then sustainability based research needs to be converted as easily accessible tools and frameworks. I shown that LC analysis of pipelines. So that's a tool that gives you a good understanding of what it is. Then need of rigorous industry academia collaboration. I've shown some of the examples, but you understood what is that industry academia collaboration, what does that mean also. Okay, there are many activities happening in this college also. It's not just about coming to the college and scoring some grades or getting marks in the exams and going back home. It's not just that. There are so many other things which is happening which you have to take part, because that you have to put in your CV. Why I'm saying this, because we used to get several emails every day looking for internships, looking for maybe a project associate position or a PhD position and things like that. When several emails you are getting, if that email has to be catchy, we will open that email, right? If it is a personal email, right, that's a different discussion point. We can do it in some other point of time. But when you open the CV, if it is only grade, okay, 9.9 out of 10, if there is nothing else, you just close it and will not respond. Okay? If there are some other, okay, participated in this, participated in that conference, presented a paper, or part of the team, that club, this club, okay? So which means that the student can take up some other load also, right? It's extracurricular ways he or she is good. You have to develop that. Otherwise it will be very difficult to move forward. Everybody wants to move forward in career, right? It's not that you, okay, let me finish it, then that's it. It's not that. Otherwise, then you have to move forward like a plan like Nivin Pauly. He wanted to get into movie, right? Okay, he was actually leaving with, so we were kind of same batchmates, meaning 2006 we both of us were passouts, I guess, and they were working in Bangalore, and he was leaving with my classmate, okay, but he was looking for movies, right? That is another kind of an orientation. But if you don't have anything like that, you need to get involved in activities, whatever is happening, whatever you can do possible from these places. Okay. And my last point is there is a lot of technological advancements such as digital twins, artificial intelligence, machine learning, Internet of Things, carbon capture and similar areas, which you have to start understanding, because these might not be covered in your curriculum. This has to be, you have to explore that. So that's all from my side. Now questions. Any questions you have? I told something in the inaugural address. Yes. Good. Okay, so see, very good question. Now, her question is, now technology is developing so much, how it is helping in sustainability. From my research field, I can say the modeling and simulation. Right now, you can model each and everything. You can model an urban area. There are tools. The technology has given us tools, software-based programs that can help us to understand the energy consumption of a community. Maybe 10 years back, it was not there. You have to understand, manually do it, and like that. That is one option. Now there is something called digital twin. Building information modeling, everybody knows? You have heard about it. AutoCAD, everybody knows? Okay. Building drawing, everybody knows? That is how technology, I've gone in the backward direction. But earlier it was only building drawing. In my BTech, I have never learned AutoCAD. That was not there. Right? Then AutoCAD has come. Then Revit has come, which means building information modeling. All those technology, it is helping you to understand or contextualize a building and put energy into it. Now you are talking about even much bigger than building information modeling, which is digital twin, which means assume that there is a model somewhere which can be used to track what is happening in this room. Let's say 80 people are there here. Okay, this much is the CO2 level in this room. This much is the temperature in this room. That technology is available. Industry is practicing that. Okay, so then there are so many other in terms of material specific. There is something called carbon capture that I have put. So carbon dioxide is something which is a big issue, right? The carbon emissions. Now when you're making the materials itself, there is now technology to capture that carbon inside the material. Once it is locked, then it will never go anywhere. Right? Such technologies are there. So the question is very valid. Technologies never end, right? So now we have smartphones. We don't know after 50 years what it will be. 50 years before there was nothing. Right? So it keeps on growing. Okay, there is some question. Very good point. So this, what she asked is, okay, so the lot of buildings are going to come. Now these buildings, the new buildings are becoming green buildings and so on. But what about the existing buildings? If that building is not green, how can you make that? This is one of the research projects that we are starting with, which is funded by Department of Science and Technology, Government of India. and with the Canadian University and 4 industry partners, how to retrofit buildings as net zero. Okay, what are the technologies, right? So there are, it's functionally when you look at the technologies that you use in a new building, you have to just use it in this old building in itself. But some of the technologies might not work because it's an old building, right? And the walls of the building might not be that much thermally insulating, because that thermal insulation is there, right? Because if this wall is constructed of bricks compared to constructed of concrete, compared to what you have in foreign country the walls are not just concrete. It is basically 2 sections and you put some insulation material in between. You might have studied it somewhere, right? Which has more insulation capacity, because that's a colder country like that, right? So the same technologies would be the same, or the measures would be the same, but the implementation should be different. And to your first part that you are hinting at, it's one thing which the government has to do is put the laws enforcing. Because right now, if I am constructing a building, I need not construct a green building. Nobody is asking me to construct a green building. If I want, I can construct. If an industry want, they can construct. But there are different countries, they are mandating it. Your building has to be this much energy efficient. Otherwise, you cannot construct it, right? Your building needs to be constructed using building information modeling techniques, which means that you can control and monitor these things over its life cycle. In UK, it is mandated. In India, it's still the development of, I am in the Bureau of Indian Standards Code Development Committee. It's just in the development of code committee only, right? So it takes time, but measures are slowly ongoing. Okay. Questions? Yes. So what is that startup you said? So there needs to be funders, right? There would be ideas. Ideas will come from good young minds, and ideas you can demonstrate in a laboratory setup. But in India, when you look at the funding scenario, is comparatively very less. Okay, which means you need to make it mass production, right? You need to have a factory setup. For that, you need money. You need more equipment, right? Then only people can come and buy it, right? So funding is one issue. And second thing is, there are so many startups which are coming, and you need to have your USP. USP means unique selling potential, right? Startups is, see, for example, the Attenberg fan. You know Attenberg fan with a remote, the BLDC fan, right? You would have seen that. That is a startup which was created by a research from IIT Bombay. It was researched and found out, and product has become a startup, it has become a product, and it has grown higher because there was a demand. It's good. I can operate this thing with a remote, and Bluetooth, something is there, then it's energy efficient. So it needs to have that unique selling potential. I don't know, I have not heard about this, whatever you mentioned, but that ecosystem needs to be created. Okay. Good questions. Yes. Chocholu. പെട്രോളിന്റെ വിലയാണോ? റൈറ്റ്. I don't have an answer. Okay. So the thing is, research has to be there in that. So now if you look at the e-waste handling, okay, when you look at a TV, okay, TV once it is old, once you have to replace, then how that is going to be recycled, the technology is very less actually, right? So all these things, the research has to grow now. Whatever you said is a good research problem, right? One thing which, one point you are addressing, which is carbon emissions, but it is raising another problem. Another problem is thermal, you need a lot of thermal power plants, and this energy has to be created. Then only you can put that into a battery, right? So it's a research problem. I don't have a direct answer to that. But it's a research problem. It has to be solved. That's similar to that. It's that what you had in Brahmapuram. It's a research problem because it's a big problem. It's a mountain, right? But definitely that's not the way we have to do it, right? Some form of a treatment has to be there. Okay. If you want to ask in Malayalam, you can ask. So, my research is not in that dimension, right? So, see, they would have sealed in such a way that it doesn't reach to soil probably. I'm not knowledgeable enough to answer that, but I'm definitely sure that that plastic is not reaching to the soil. Most probably, you are making it as a block, which means you are kind of blocking it using some form of a material. That is my kind of understanding. Maybe I'm not knowledgeable enough to give that answer to you. Okay. Any more questions? Okay, I think that's all from my side. You have been nice. I've put you into a lot of complicated things, right? But I hope you got the crux of it. That is more important. And the second thing is, civil engineering is a nice career, okay? And it needs a lot of your own things, okay? It's not just what you get from the college, that's the basic education. If you look at what you get in IIT, for a BTech student, the same thing that you are getting here as well. The syllabus is same. The same theorems you are learning in structural engineering, right? I'm not trying to elevate your mood, but that's the reality. But the kind of extracurricular things, the kind of extra information that you gain over your career, that is much more important. That will reflect in your interviews and so on. All the best to all of you. Okay, thank you.
Dean, it's a great honor and privilege to propose the vote of thanks on this occasion. Before anything else, let me thank Almighty God for His grace and blessings in our life. Our sincere thanks to the chief guest, Dr. Albert Thomas, Assistant Professor at Construction Technology and Management Group of Civil Engineering at IIT Bombay, for gracing today's occasion. Indeed, it was a great opportunity to hear your thoughts on the academic and industrial collaboration towards sustainable construction, and this shall definitely encourage us in our future endeavors. Your thoughts have enlightened our minds and shown us a new path. A special mention to Dr. Gigi Anthony, HOD, Civil Department FISAT, for being the catalyst that inspired us to do our best and who stood with us as pillar of strength. With a deep sense of appreciation, I thank our loving teachers and students for their untiring efforts. I shall also thank each one of you for being attentive and sincerely cooperating with us. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, and thank you all for participating in this session. You'll have a break now.